Hey there, welcome to the Dentelligentsia Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Caitlin Parsons. I'm also joined by my partner in crime, Remy Isdainer. We are Mirlo Real Estate Partners. And welcome, Caitlin. How's it going?
Hey, doing well. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're super excited to talk to you. This podcast, we'd love to discuss all different types of things that dentists can use to improve their practice. And what better way to do that than talking about wellness and things of that nature. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Caitlin, obviously. I've been a practicing hygienist for 16 years. And within the first year of working as a dental hygienist, I started experiencing multiple areas of chronic and acute pain. And it led me on it. Well, it got me to a really low point where I considered alternative careers. I was looking into disability. I was really stuck and I felt alone and overwhelmed and just not knowing what to do. And that led me finally to discovering yoga, and it was hot yoga out of all things. And I had this realization that there had to be something out there that was more therapeutic and specific to the work that we're doing as dental professionals. And there really wasn't. So it became my mission 15 years ago. And so I became a yoga teacher, an advanced yoga teacher specializing in therapeutics and posture, and later became a certified yoga therapist and started working with people in groups, a lot of people with chronic or recurrent back pain. It was a big one, an injury recovery, and then kind of outside the dental world. But I realized that there was, and I worked a lot individually with people one-on-one, and I started to realize that it was way more about more than the movement and yoga. It was, how are they sitting at work? If they're in pain all day after work, like what is going on? So I started studying more and figuring out posture and ergonomics and our lifestyle, and the way that we just naturally sit is so important. So that all led me to becoming an ergonomics consultant. And so now my business is the Aligned Hygienist. I help dental professionals and dental teams either get out of pain or prevent pain in the practice or the individual, and really thrive, manage stress, all of that stuff.
It's really cool.
It's been a journey.
Are you still a practicing hygienist?
Yeah, I took a 3-year hiatus, and I don't know if I regret it or not, but when I was starting my business, and now I'm back. So I work 1 to 2 days a week, and I just moved to New Jersey like 2 weeks ago and found an amazing practice to get into. And so I'm excited to get back in and treat patients the way that I want to. And I know a lot more now than I did then. So yeah,
How common are work-related injuries or chronic pain? Is that a high
very common.
percentage of dentists and hygienists suffer from?
Yeah, I mean, reports and studies vary, but one report shows that 97% of people experience pain in their careers. And in this specific report, it was to a bunch of dental professionals. I think it was 57% or 54% had experienced it within the last year. So it's really common, and it's a lot of the work that we're doing, right? We're looking down in our patients' mouths. We have ourselves in these really awkward positions, but we're all sitting for most of the day, and it's also really stressful, which plays a role in pain. And it's also an emotional, like a human to human job, which can be mentally and emotionally overwhelming, and all of that plays a big role.
Just sitting here talking to you, I'm even more conscious of my own posture. So
I
you're
think every podcast that I'm on, people say that, and I have to catch myself all of the time too. I was actually in This is a big part of my pain journey. Is when I was 16, I hit black ice and I did the opposite of what you're supposed to do, and I hit a curb and tree and flipped my car. So the car accident, I didn't realize until when I became a dental hygienist, actually had a lot of impact on my spine. Like I have the opposite curve in my neck, and so good posture is challenging for me, and I have to constantly work at it. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping dental professionals, because bad posture can impact us way more than just being in pain. It literally is linked to diabetes and multiple cancers and poor breathing and all of these things that affect the way we function and how we feel in life, not even just in the dental world.
so there's some serious long-term consequences if you're not prioritizing, you know,
Yeah.
those things.
And a lot of times I'll say, sorry, a lot of times it doesn't just happen. Usually it's not just one instance and you're injured. We're slowly getting signs over time and we're ignoring them. And then it gets to this bigger injury or issue or chronic pain. And that was what happened with me. I had so many signs that I ignored for a long time and hoped it would go away.
What are some of those early signs of burnout or physical stress that
Yeah, they vary. I'd say just like aches and pain when people leave work and they're exhausted and it's just day after day they wake up exhausted or they feel like they have an area of their body they just can't like I don't know, release or it's just constantly there. A lot of people experience that like, oh, my lower back just like keeps hurting, but it's not bad enough, so I'll just keep going. It's a lot of those things, but then stress affects us differently and our mood and how we focus, right? If we're constantly having like low grade ache, we're going to be less focused, less productive, less efficient.
How are you able to, I'm jumping in and off of mute here, bear with me, but how are you delivering education and training to dental professionals? Is it a combination of in person and then virtually? Talk to us about how in what capacity are you working with folks, locally around the country?
Yeah, I work with people a lot virtually, but also in person. So I do mostly one-on-one coaching can be done virtually, but if I'm helping a practice, unless I'm doing just a 1 hour lunch and learn, I can do that virtually. But it's really impactful when I can go into the office, we can do the lunch and learn, and then have me there for a half a day or a full day. And I'm analyzing and helping the entire team. So not just the doctor, not just the hygienist, but the assistants and the front office. And then everyone gets a written report. And that's really what I love to do because when I can help all of the people on their team. It's not just one person that I'm helping, but it's all of those people, but they get to kind of keep each other motivated and accountable and they're all on the same page. So yeah, I love doing that.
I imagine that really can help boost morale within the team and also hopefully increase productivity.
Yeah. Productivity, absolutely. If we're constantly in pain, it's going to affect us. But one thing I think a lot of dentists struggle with is team retention, is finding the right people and keeping them on the team so they can support and build the practice or sustain the practice and investing in your team, even if it's not me coming out there for a full day, although that always helps. But in little ways, I think investing in your team is one of the most powerful things a dentist can do.
Can you actually quantify the ROI for investing in ergonomics solutions and wellness support for a practice?
I don't, that's something that I'm working on, but I can't quantify it. I've just seen it and witnessed it in a lot of ways.
I imagine that it's probably a big task to try to put analytics to what you see every day. I know in our world they're the tangible items, the costs associated with a project for a dentist as it relates to real estate and construction and so forth. But we often talk about the intangible items like having a brand new state of the art practice, the ability to be able to attract and retain talent, and we said there's no way to quantify it, but it's something that it's relatable. The concept, people understand it intellectually, and I think it's really similar. The dentist, the hygienist, the support staff, they're performing the same tasks for hours on end every day, bent, twisted, and it hurts, and they know that whether that you can put a number on it or not. I imagine it'd be neat to be able to put some analytics behind it. Not sure how, but
No,
Ultimately, I think just as a practice owner, your staff, they understand that you care and you're investing in them. I know not only do they feel, hopefully they feel better and have better, solutions kind of to kind of some of the aches and pains, but they know that everybody's kind of aligned, but aligned for the better. We work, to earn money, but most important is, I think, to most people is being with their family and their health. And so it is an important thing. I mean, our work family is important to us, but we wanna prioritize our health.
yeah. I think dentists investing in their team really shows that they care more than just the production. And that's so important, right? For the practice growth. But investing in the individual and the team, that creates a sense of loyalty. I don't see people, I'm in a lot of Facebook dental hygiene or dental groups, and there are no dental hygiene groups or dental hygienists complaining when a doctor chooses to invest in them, even again in small ways, but for their health and their wellness. It's almost always the opposite, that they don't feel like they're validated, or they don't have the right tools like instruments that work, or they don't feel like they can go to their doctor and talk about these things and even tell them they're in pain and they need solutions. So yeah.
I imagine a lot of your clients and our clients, they certainly have incredibly busy schedules when they're at the office. Are there any daily habits or small actionable items that you could suggest to us here, how they could reduce some stress and physical strain?
It's honestly all about the small habits, especially in dentistry. We are so busy like all day long, right? And our head is constantly spinning. So some things we can do is simple micro breaks. So especially during longer procedures, but even for a dental hygienist, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, or 45 minutes over and over. It's a lot of sitting. It's a lot of doing the same thing. So taking breaks, making sure you're getting up, you're drinking water is like the simple thing that so many of us don't do. We don't drink water because we don't want to go to the bathroom, but that is vital for our body to feel good and to function properly. But even just getting up and stretching, I'm a big fan of chairside stretches. I call them yoga snacks. So little bits we can do throughout the day when we're waiting for our patient, or if you're a doctor, you're waiting for your hygienist that needs an exam, or you're waiting for your patient to get numb. We have so many opportunities and little moments where we could just wait in the doorway and do a simple stretch for our chest and our shoulders. Or we could just take a few minutes to do a breathing practice to slow down our breathing, which kind of tricks our mind or our body into a state of relaxation rather than staying in our mind and like thinking about the endless list that is going on in our head.
Forgive me if I got this wrong, but did you come from out west?
I actually am a Northeast girl. I'm a Boston girl, but I lived in San Diego for 12 years.
Okay. It's interesting because when we were prepping for this pod, I was thinking, these health and wellness trends tend to start out west and make their way sometimes from New York in, but really the wellness trends, come from the west. And here you are having spent time out there and bringing that skill set to Jersey in this case. Do you see a difference in workplace culture as it relates to wellness, where you were and where you are now? Is there anything to speak to in that respect?
That's an interesting question. Funny enough, I moved to San Diego to pursue the yoga therapy program that hadn't even started, but I knew being out west would get me closer to that innovation than being in Boston. But I don't know that I didn't do a lot of office consulting when I was in San Diego, but I did do a lot of like hygiene work and connect with a lot of people there. I don't know that there's more. It's one of those things that you have to experience it. So unless the doctor or someone on the team feels that way, a lot of people in San Diego are transplants. So a lot of them are from Boston or Chicago or somewhere else. So it really is a mindset. I don't know that there probably is more health and wellness just naturally out there, but there's still a lot of people that are in pain and struggle with it, and the practice suffers as a result. I don't know. We'll see. I just landed in New Jersey, so we'll see how excited people are, but it's innovative here too. So,
Where in Jersey are you?
central New Jersey. Yep. It's weird.
Coastal or inland?
Inland. I'm about 30 minutes from the beach, which is weird because when I lived in San Diego, I was almost always like a block from the beach. So I actually lived in Massachusetts for a year and a half on Cape Cod before I came to New Jersey in between San Diego, but
Were you involved in the yoga and wellness community in Boston?
not really in Boston, just San Diego. Yep.
Okay. Before moving home to Detroit, my kids were born in Boston. We were there for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And so we spent a lot of time there, did a lot of yoga and, tech points with the wellness community there. So it's that's neat that we share that. And my family's all from New Jersey also.
I really just never thought I'd be a Jersey girl, but here I am.
That's funny. Yeah.
Are there any big mistakes that you see practices make when they're trying to, improve posture and their ergonomics within their practice?
Say there's any mistakes that I necessarily see people make, except actually one that comes to mind is when a really kind and generous doctor or practice owner wants to take care of their team and they hear that saddle stools are a great option. So they buy a bulk order of the same saddle stools and put it in the operatories. So our bodies are all different, right? We have different height, we're different height, leg height, hip width, like where our hip bones or sit bones are placed. And all of that plays a role in what chair will feel best for us. So I've been to many offices that there's the same saddle stool and, there's a few people that really like it. And then half the people are like, I don't even use that. It actually makes my pain worse. So that's one mistake. But I think one of the most important things is understanding your team and what would motivate or support your team. For everyone, it might not be ergonomics. It might be they want like a spa day once a year, or they want a gym membership, or whatever it is. But understanding like what the pain points are for every member on your team, but your team as a whole is important. And I really don't think there's a wrong way to invest in your team outside if you're thinking about the individuals. That makes sense?
It does. Yeah. I mean, everyone is uniquely unique and has a different set of needs and challenges. So that makes good sense. Can you share a story with us about how somebody working with you helped change their trajectory, their path for the better?
Yeah, I talk about this man all the time. We actually ended up being really close. I was worked with almost his whole family, it feels like. But he came to me at the when he had like he tried everything else. He was actually an engineer, so he sat, at a desk on a for I don't know, he was I think 50 something when I started working with him, and he came to me as a last resort. He had a lot of back pain for probably about 15 years and struggled with having a hunchback. And he was told by doctors, surgeons, everyone that he would always have the hunchback. It would never change. It would just keep getting worse, and that he should just get surgery and he will always be in pain. And so when he came to me, he was a little bit broken, and we worked together. He was one of the first clients that I worked with, which is why it's so special that we started with yoga therapy, and we were releasing tension in his tight muscles and building strength for better posture. And I helped him find a good aligned chiropractor and other healthcare professionals that I thought would really support him as well. But then I started going and watching him work at his desk, and we were figuring that out, and we were working specifically on his posture and exercises to build strength. And after just a couple of months, his pain had decreased dramatically, and within the course of a year his pain pretty much went away, and we were working on other areas of pain. And he'll always have somewhat of a hunchback, but his posture had improved so much, and he doesn't need surgery. He started doing things that he wasn't able to do for so long. He quit volleyball, he quit bowling, he quit doing all of these things that brought him joy and movement because he was in pain and he was told that that was just his trajectory. And so, yeah, I got messages. That's why I started working with his wife, because his wife was like, his mood is better. He's like happier and all of these things. So it really does, when we can find a way to get to the root cause of the issue and get out of pain, it affects so many areas of our lives.
That's a great story, and I'm sure it's one of many. I've got issues with my back, have for years. I've got, at times severe sciatic symptoms, and there were times years ago where I wasn't sleeping well or sleeping at all, and I became depressed. And it's they say your biography becomes your biology, and that was certainly the case here. So I'm a testament to how serious and dangerous chronic pain and discomfort can be, and how much better life can be when you have someone like you to work with to make improvements.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's crazy just if we're not getting proper sleep, how that affects our body short term and long term. I mean, even just that as a side effect of it is big.
Yeah, it all kind of intertwined together. So if I'm not eating well, I'm also probably not sleeping well. So I can certainly relate as well. So that's really cool feedback that you really helped this guy incredibly, worked with his whole family and essentially changed, the trajectory of his life. Even though he was middle aged, it was really, an important, or eye opening thing for him to be able to, to be able to do more things and live a healthier life. Do you have any other similar types of stories like that about how you've actually helped to practice and helped improve their performance and culture?
Yeah, I have gotten multiple messages from team members at offices that I go to that like, oh my gosh, just this one simple suggestion or being able to do, I don't know, get a saddle stool that actually fits me or the way that I understand how to position my body or the patient. Like I get those messages all of the time and even more questions on top of it. But I don't know if I have an office that like at the end they were all clapping and no one was in pain. Like it is the thing with anything wellness related or when we want to get out of pain or really make changes to prevent it or change the way that we manage stress or if we're burnt out like that, those things take time. I think that's why it's hard to quantify it is it takes time and there's a lot of factors that go into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, talk to us then about, I mean, obviously meeting and consulting with a team on a short-term basis. It's not like you're getting a shot and you don't have this disease anymore. I mean, like it is, you have to really manage it and make it part of your daily habits to, to enjoy the benefits, the long-term benefits. But certainly, I would imagine you've had the experience where people have really bought in and over, I'm sure you've worked with different teams for years.
Yeah, I really didn't start. I was a little bit gun shy and didn't know how to start consulting in offices. It's been my dream and what I've wanted to do for a long time, but I'd say the past 5 years I've gone through like a lot of just life stuff that has, made my work a little bit narrowed, if that makes sense. But I've gone into multiple offices and there are always people. I was in San Diego actually visiting after I left there and helped an oral surgery practice. And the doctor was, if you could see the photos from the entire team, but because the doctor was positioning himself and the patient completely wrong, I might say. Both of his assistants were affected and they had to do these awkward positions. And just by helping, like my main point at that time was how can I figure out how to get the doctor in better alignment because as a ripple effect from that, the other team members will feel better. So there's so many instances that went the way yeah, it's just these small things, but it takes a lot of accountability to, as we know, to create new habits for ourselves. And a lot of us, like this doctor I worked with, it's taken time. We have these checkpoints where we check in regularly, but he had these habits for 25 years of practice before I came in. So yes, we can move the patient and do these things, but his habit is going to be for a long time that he has to fight is bringing those elbows down and like doing, we're creatures of habit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it takes time and patience and practice.
With advancements in technology, whether it's handpieces, imaging, and so forth, there are numerous changes in the workplace that many of those are physical changes in the way that we position ourselves and spend time. But it despite that, it feels like hygiene is always going to be hygiene, and those repetitive motions, spending time in people's mouths all day, will continue as it is despite the changing environment. If you see it that way, also, again, I feel like it bodes well for what you're trying to accomplish and how you're helping people, because it's going to be lasting, right? What you were doing to help people a year ago will likely benefit them for years and years to come.
Yeah, I would say in a lot of ways, I agree. We are, especially as a dental hygienist, but dentists as well, we are needed, and like we have to be doing the work, and we have to find ways to better that over time. However, the advancements in technology, I think, actually support me in helping people, like the ergonomic loops that allow us to actually practice in alignment where we're not looking down all day is a game changer. But not everyone knows that. Not everyone has experienced it. Not everyone wants to convert. And I think that's a part of what I'm passionate about is it's not just me or ergonomics, but what tools can you bring in that can support your body long term? Like a saddle stool that actually positions your body so that sitting in neutral posture is a lot easier throughout the day and you're not fighting it. Using good instruments that are actually ergonomic so you're not having a death grip on your hand, learning how to store and maintain these instruments and equipment, like you mentioned, hand pieces, and making sure that we have cords that aren't super heavy. Or for me, I'm a left-handed practitioner, so I need typically a longer handpiece cord, and that's not always accessible in every office. So there's a lot of tools that can really support us and make our job a lot easier with our body not having to work as hard. But at the end of the day, we're still going to be either sitting or in a saddle stool or standing and working in someone's mouth, which faces its challenges that I don't think will necessarily change.
I
That was
feel like
long-winded.
no, that's it's good information, and really important information at that. We were at a joint district dental CE event a few days ago, and one of the topics that was brought up was the epidemic shortage of hygiene, really across the country, certainly here in Michigan. And doctors were posing the question to leadership at the state level, what can be done, what is being done. And I think that this belongs in that conversation. It's a perfect, not just a talking point, but it's a perfect topic when it comes to work-life balance and avoiding burnout and just being comfortable and happy, developing good work culture and so forth. And so I hope people do tune in, and for everybody, and probably everyone is asking themselves that same question. This is a great solution.
Yeah. I just put a video on Instagram, and I've been talking about this a lot of the hygiene shortage. And I made a bold statement that we don't have a hygiene shortage. And of course, we do. However, there's also a lot of clinical dental hygienists that are leaving the field because they're tired of the way things are. They're tired of working 9 to 5 and they can't take a day off because they have a health appointment. Like these standards in dentistry that have not every doctor practices that way, believe me, but there's a lot of things in offices that are kind of more old school. And I think there's also a change everywhere in employees where we want more work-life balance than we did 20 years ago, right? And we want to fight for that. So there's a lot of people that I don't know, it's this big back and forth. Of course, we need more hygienists. We need more hygienists that are willing to do the work, but we need to take care of the people that are investing in my opinion, your patients and your practice if you're a dentist. And as a hygienist, I'm happy to do that. I love to do that. But I also want to feel supported and supported as a human and a clinician. And it doesn't have to be that you buy me all of these things. It can be just the way that you talk to me, or the way that you show up, or the way that you help me up when I'm down, or that you kind of lead me on your team.
That's really interesting. And we're actually, you're as we are getting into the weeds, we're kind of running out of time, but it seems like we could actually really dig into this maybe at some of these topics on another time. I would really appreciate it if you'd be open to it. But because these are really the most important types of topics, are those relationships and how, ultimately we're as kind of vendors essentially to dentists, we care about their success and we want them to, do the best, be the best practitioner that they can be, and also support their community the best they can. But yeah, part of, I mean, it all, your work family needs to, you need to be able to communicate with them, and they need to be able to understand each other and support each other. And so that's really a topic that I think you, more than just about anybody we've ever spoken to, has a lot more insight from where you're sitting to provide some of that type of feedback. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'll also say, just as we wrap up that I'm really here for the triple win. So a lot of doctors, because I'm a hygienist and then also an ergonomics consultant, have this assumption that I'm there for the team, or that just because I'm a hygienist, I'm against the doctor. Like, I'm here for the triple win, which is the patients, the community, the practice, but also the practitioners. And how do we all find a way to feel better, deliver better care, and have better impact? So clearly I have a lot to say on this. Another episode.
Yeah. If you weren't doing this work, what do you think? What type of career path do you think you'd be on?
I've been asked that like 3 times in the last couple of weeks, and I really just don't know. Had never dreamed that I would be doing what I'm doing, even back when I had the realization about doing yoga therapy and helping dental professionals. This looks way different and is way better than I could have anticipated. It comes with its challenges owning a business. So maybe I wouldn't own a business, but I think that's just the way I run. So I don't know.
What's one piece of advice that you'd give a new grad hygienist or dentist about setting themselves up for a healthy and sustainable career?
Find ways to take care of yourself, your body, your mind, your energy as you go through dentistry, and keep that as a pillar. And find ways to, I think, be flexible with the seasons of life you're in, because some will require a lot less movement or certain things than others, and just take care of yourself, because if we can fill our cups and we feel good, the care we give and what we're doing is a lot easier.
How do you personally recharge, by or take care of yourself outside of work? Yeah, obviously, this isn't a trick question. We know what you do, but you still gotta give yourself or treat yourself well.
Yeah, again, it changes, and I have a lot of things that I do to take care of myself. Obviously, yoga therapy is a big part, but the last, especially 2 years, I've been going through a lot of personal family stuff, and my exercise has decreased, and the amount that I'm doing relaxing meditations or just going for walks in nature and kind of slowing down is kind of the season that I'm in, and I'm actually ramping up out of that a little bit. So I think the most important thing is taking time for me to slow down and listen to where I'm at and what I need is probably the most important. Otherwise, I am just going, 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 and not paying attention to my body as I did 15 years ago. So all kinds of things.
You got any last things, Remy?
No, I appreciate our time together very much, and hope that we can do this again soon and dig into some of these topics.
Yeah, I think that it would be really awesome to kind of dive in, and maybe we can huddle up and send you some ideas so we can kind of really take a deeper dive on a couple of those issues that you had spoken so eloquently about, because I think that, as a third party but interested party that is super well acquainted with, just what it's like to work and live inside of a practice, I think that you are, as good as it gets about being able to give some interesting insights to folks. And so we'll work hard to try to tie some of that stuff together. So I'm sorry we were cutting it short a little bit today, because I mean, we could probably keep on going, but we got a bunch of real estate stuff we got to take care of. So anyhow, it was really, really nice getting to know you. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Take care.
Bye bye.